Hello everyone and welcome back. I'm Sarah Liz. I'm glad you're here. I have started making Valentines for my two little boys, ages 5 and 8. And I thought I would share what I've been making and share a printable in case you wanted to make these too. So I have a 6-page free printable for you to make these scratch-off Valentines. Each page is for a different animal, and the top part will be visible, and then the bottom part has like a scratch-off sticker on it to reveal our punny sentiment. For my critters, I am using a whole bunch of Burniston critter dies. I love these. I have not quite all of them, but darn near. Below, I will link as many as I can find in as many places as I can find them. They're cheaper some places than others. They ship cheaper some places than others. There are better variety of them some places than others. So that's why there's a ton of links below. But also don't feel like you have to use these. If you have a stamp set with a dragon or a cat or a dog or whatever, like use that. One of my favorite tricks for kid cards is that it's a color your own, right? So you don't have to color all those critters, but you can just stick them on there, uncolored. And that's, it's a fun activity for them. My kid would love that. So I'm starting with the dragon. This is my favorite. I love this little guy. And when you cut him out with the die, there are like little stencil pieces. So I used a black fine liner pen for his eyes and mouth. And then I stole some colored pencils from my kids for the wings and then his belly. I also used a colored pencil, right? These are super quick and easy to put together. My 8-year-old is pretty artistic, and he's the kind of kid that even when he was 5, he could have helped me with this. My 5-year-old, not so much. He just doesn't have the patience for it. It doesn't make him happy, and that's okay. So his class has like 12 or 15 kids in it. I made 15. And so we'll do that for his class this year. We did these for my older son's class last year, and he did help me with those. Here, this raccoon is my second favorite, and this is, I think, one of the most popular sets because you can find it all kinds of places. There's a separate die for like his little eye mask and his tail, and he comes together really quickly. This is the only one where the ears come all the way out, which is sort of a pain, but I just stuck like a piece of low-tack tape behind there to keep track of them until I put it on the card. Almost all of these dies have a little hole to color in, like their paws or hooves, their feet, but I don't use the stencil feature for those because then you end up, like for that raccoon, you'd have had a gray gap of space between the black paw and the edge of the die. So I just do that by hand, and it's a quick swipe of my marker. I used an alcohol marker, but it really wouldn't matter. So this is the cat and the dog. They come in a set together. I think it's one of the newer ones. And we don't have to. I'm clipping the feet. It's easier, I think, to get the bellies on them if you clip them. You can kind of wiggle it through if you want, but this was just faster. And then I'm adding some glue, and I'll weave the belly sort of underneath the feet and in front of all of the body parts of this puppy dog. As much as possible, I've kept a bunch of my animals in grays and blacks and whites with pops of red because it's Valentine's Day, and I thought that was fun. But you could do these out of any color. The packaging, which I often have in that top right corner, has a really great sort of illustration of what they should look like. That's how I knew on this cat. I thought it was looking a little plain. I was like, oh, they've added like white accents to this cat on the tail and the paws. Great. It's super quick and easy. It's not hard. The sets typically have between 8 and 10 dies in them. So you can make these little critters and then add an accessory, or it'll have, like this one has a bowl and a bone and a fish. So you can create a little scene with them. I also love that these are about the same size as most critter stamp sets. And so they're interchangeable with a bunch of other different brands. I have used, especially that raccoon. You guys, I think he's on 20 cards of mine from the last year. My favorite things, MFT has a bunch of critter related things. There's like a bus and there was an airplane, and he fits perfectly into all of those things. And so I just find that these are really, really versatile. And Karen Burniston does a really great job of keeping them all about the same size, so that as you're building scenes with multiple different sets, it works really well. I love that this pig has a fork. I have used that fork on a number of cards that didn't contain a pig. And so that was fun. This giraffe is super cute, and they have all of these little dots that you can color in to give him his brown spots. Be a little bit careful with this one because his hooves and his front hooves and his back hooves both look like spots, but it's going to be much easier, much better to color those in after the fact. This was a little bit of slow going because all I really had was this like super, super fine brown pen. But if you have something a little thicker, it's much faster. For the pig and this giraffe, there are holes for the nostrils. And so I, on both of those, colored that in black behind it. You could cut it out twice, a second time in black, and like add little pieces of black cardstock, but I don't want to work that hard. And then there's hearts in a handful of these sets, and so I've added the hearts. And then there are two sort of accessory sets. I actually didn't use the one on the left. I just used the one on the right, but I wasn't sure. So I cut all of them out of a combination of red and black. And so for this dog, I'm adding a little top hat. And again, there's a stencil feature. It's a pretty big like ribbon line. I just did at the very top a swipe with my silver pen. And then I'm going to add a pirate's eye patch to this pig. He looked a little unfinished to me, and I'm realized after the fact that I didn't color his hooves in black. There's just a lot of pink going on. So don't forget his hooves. That would dress him up. There are in both sets a handful of glasses, and they're so cute. So we're going to put some cute little glasses on this cat. On her collar, like I cut it all out of pink and then just swiped it with my marker to turn that tag red, but there was also a set of red hearts. I could have sort of cut over that if I wanted to. So this is one of the pages of the printables. This is for the dragon, and I'm using a set of dies. Those fluted classics from Spellbinders are some of my most used dies. You're going to see them a fair bit in the coming month. And so I'm taping it down. My plates were really warped. So a couple of these I cut out. I realized I needed to tape it down more to make sure that they didn't warp. So that's what I'm showing you here. I taped like all the edges because this is a thinner paper cardstock than I usually use. And the die is actually so narrow that was a problem. I die cut half of them and decided that was a lot of work. So I'm also going to show you how to do this with your trimmer. I'm leaving just a little bit of an edge along the top. And then I want long ways for this to be 3 3/4 inches. And then this is the size I ultimately want, 2.5 by 3 3/4. And I cut that out of just some scrap paper, and I'm folding it in half to find the center. And I'm going to hold that up to my Valentine printable page. And I'm just marking with my pencil, keeping that sentiment at the top centered and creating little pencil marks. And so I'm just going to trim it on one side at that pencil mark, and then on the other side, I'm going to measure it out to 2.5. And that'll give me my perfect size. But you don't have to do this. I mean, use whatever die you have. Last year for my son, I used like a scalloped rectangle. I can't find it anywhere, so I can't tell you which one it was. But see what you have, however it works for you. That sounds great. I cut a matte layer for these that is 1/4 inch bigger. So that matte layer is 2 3/4 by 4 inches. And I'm gluing my printable page on top of that. And then these stickers I got on Amazon, you guys, they're pretty cheap. And I got 150 of them. I pull these out almost every time my kids have some kind of funny card to make. And I haven't even gone through half of them. So I will tell you, when you first pull them out of the package, they smell a little funny. Like you can tell it smells like a petroleum product or something. If you just set them out and let them air out overnight, that's mostly gone. So the page that I was using, I mean, I've had these for over a year, doesn't smell at all, but I do want to just give you a heads up on that. They smell just a little odd when you first take them out, but that will go away. I cut little circles of silver. It's like a matte silver, brushed silver cardstock. This is cheap stuff I've had in my stash for a long time. You can see it's like a craft on the back, and it kind of curls when you leave it on its own. It might have come from Michael's. So I'm using that up, right? I go for some of my cheaper cardstocks as backgrounds and stuff, especially on kids' cards. Here I'm gluing those little earpieces back into my Racoon. And I am just hustling right on through these. So if you would like the free printable, all that I ask is that you be a subscriber to my channel. It helps other people to find my channel and helps support the content that I'm bringing to you for free. Also, if you are interested in some Valentines that are a little quicker and easier than these, even like this took me, I don't know, an hour and a half, 2 hours to make all the Valentines for my son's class. February 1st, the emergency card kit is massive, you guys. It is so many pages and it's going to be super cute. And there's sentiments for everybody, for your partner, for your friend, for your coworkers, for your kids. And that will come out February 1st. I have plans then also mid-February to bring you some new sentiments that aren't holiday related, because I've gotten a lot of requests from you guys and I appreciate this. These scratch offs are real easy, right? That came off without a whole lot of effort. Hey Valentine, you're totally possum. If you liked this video, please give it a thumbs up, consider subscribing. I've got big plans for February, so I hope I will see you there.